Hey guys, Madballer here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be playing Maokai in the top lane, and we'll be up against Renekton. For my runes, I'm running Grasping and Undying with Demolished, Second Wind and Overgrowth, and Sorcery Secondary with Mana Flow Band and Transcendence. Recently I've started playing some different champions other than Tryndamere and Mordekaiser, in this case namely Maokai. The reason for that is that I'm having some difficulty climbing out of Diamond with just Tryndamere. I think that's a combination of him being a sort of an A or a B tier pick as opposed to S tier, and the fact that in this particular elo, most people are picking carry champions. Like for example, in this game you can see our team's entirely damaged on the side of Thresh. So in most cases, my team comp's usually needing a tank or a CC champion, and picking Tryndamere into that is really handicapping your chances of winning. And the other aspect is that I'm looking to play perhaps some stronger champions and help me climb through that aspect. What that'll mean for the channel is that I'll be releasing some more varied gameplays. So obviously this one's a Maokai game, but expect to see other champions like perhaps Wukong, Malphite, Poppy, just some stronger champions in the current meta. And hopefully that'll have me winning more games, and you can see some higher elo gameplay, which should be exciting. Maokai and the Renekton matchups, I think it's actually a fairly good matchup for Maokai. He loses pretty much all of his matchups early game, but that's only early game. The matchup, if you don't give Renekton a lead, once you get Sunfire Cape, it becomes really easy. And at that sort of point of Sunfire Cape ninjas, you start to actually outtrade, and you can actually win fights, which we do see in this particular game. Spoiler alert. So right now I'm just trying to pick up as much CS on the tower. I did want to comment on this. Guys, if you're playing Elise or an early aggressive jungler, don't invade Graves, Renekton with Maokai as a top laner. Maokai has no priority at all. Level 3, he's one of the weaker champions of the game. I'm pushed to tower. I was going to type here, but as you know, it doesn't help at all. But don't. If you're a jungler, don't invade a strong early game jungler like Graves. Obviously, Elise wins that in a vacuum, but don't invade that when you have Renekton as the enemy's top laner and your team's top laner is playing Maokai. It's just not going to work. So I didn't bother following that. I'd lose minions and I'd die. Just not a great decision from our jungler. So right now, just farming away with Q and autos. I took Grasp into this particular matchup. You can run Aftershock, and you run Aftershock in a lot of matchups, but I think Grasp is good in this matchup because of the fact that you do want to fight Renekton eventually, and you can, as you see there, sort of Grasp trade back and kite him back with his Q. And Grasp does just sort of hastens the point where you actually beat Renekton in a 1v1, which you may need if you have to side lane against him. In my runes, I'm also running the CDR shard instead of attack speed or attack speed or adaptive force. That's just a good way of getting some more CDR into your build, as you don't get a ton of it early on with Sunfire Cape. And obviously Maokai as a tank benefits greatly from CDR and makes it really easy for you to lock down people. Just pinging there because I was fairly sure Renekton was evading. He did end up doing it, but just wanted to warn my jungler. At this point I'm just going to back. He's going to hit 6. I've got no tank stats. Low mana, so it's better for me to just back and lose some CS then rather than die. And I will use my first TP to get back to lane. It does give me a bit of prior in the lane and tempo, as he's going to have to either TP back or miss some CS. So we're going to trade TPs, which is not the worst thing in the world. In most cases, you almost always want to rush Bambi Cinder first. Against a big healer, you can go Bramble Vest, but since I'm not really behind in this lane, I can go Bambies. You can see that the Renekton wanted to hold the wave outside of tower, so I just sort of kited back there and made him take a bit more damage, and it ends up not really being a great trade for him. At this point, we're not going to be winning trades, particularly, I believe, with what he's building. Although he is going Phage instead of he's going Phage into Cleaver instead of Bork. I think Bork's probably a better build for the 1v1, but obviously Black Cleaver's going to be a better team fighting item. So right now you can see his wave stacked up. So I'm just going to play back. There's no reason at all for me to play forward here, and I'm not going to win the 1v1. So it's better to lose and sack a couple of CS and pick up the whole wave later on. In terms of the pick of the champion, I think I honestly think Maokai is in a really strong place in the current meta. His win rate's really high, and I think Riot is going to be tuning him up on patch 10.10 with a bit of a nerve, but I still think he's going to be a fantastic tank. I know tanks aren't the most fun champions to play the game a lot of the time, but I think one of the reasons why champs usually have a high win rate is that your team generally doesn't play it right. Most people prefer to play the flashy carries. But I think if you are looking to gain some elo, try out perhaps Maokai or Ornn in particular are some great options. Alright, so we are both getting low, so I'm a little bit worried about Graves because he's not on the map right now. So we're just going to try and clear the wave as fast as possible. Renekton is low at 300 HP, but obviously that's a bit of a bait considering he has his ultimate and he will have healing innately in his kit as well as Conqueror. So we don't want to fight him 100% yet. So we're just going to put down some wards to make sure Graves doesn't cast unaware and just keep poking with Q. We might not be able to win the 1v1, but we can just make sure that it's difficult for him to actually all in as well. Because right now, just by farming, we're winning. I do CC him up for Elise. I think this is actually a really good bait. We're going to try and push out the wave.
Rampage.
This probable play was my fault. I should have pinged Elise like multiple times to come help me push out the wave. Your jungler should always help push out the wave. In this case, if you are in your jungle mains are listening. As a top lane main, we need you to help us push the wave out, particularly when the opposition laner has TP. Doesn't excuse the slightly tilted pinging, but any top lane main who knows like this is a horrible place for the wave to be in. It's pushing into Renekton, and I'm going to be losing way more CS. Wasn't really upset because it's not the end of the world because I'm playing a tank and it doesn't matter that much, as well as the fact this Renekton doesn't freeze on me. But in this case, what I should have done is I should have just spam pinged the Elise to help me push out the wave and then got a free back off and not died. Still not a major problem because Renekton didn't get the kill, but it would have been better. And I didn't actually miss that much CS, but Renekton could have frozen. It could have been really bad. At this point with Bambies and Chainvest, I'm pretty safe against Renekton. He's really going to struggle to kill me unless I make a major mistake, but we're not really at the point where we can beat him in a 1v1. So we just get a grass proc off. He takes a tower shot. It's a fairly even, or it's a trade that he comes out ahead. So I got a little bit overconfident there, and I'm just going to ward up. I'm going to ward up the Tribe Rush, and I'm now going to ping. When junglers take Rift, the first place they usually come is top. So I'm poking out Renekton as quickly as possible, and I'm going to clear the wave as well. There's two major things here. I think they're looking to dive, but they probably can't. And they got a little bit overconfident and underestimate my damage, so I'd be able to pick up the Graves fairly easily. And I'm able to beat the Renekton. So there's a couple of key probably aspects of that play that I want to talk about there. The first of which was when Renekton tried to path through lane to get a ward down. I chunked him out by about 340 HP, and that obviously made it easy to kill him later on. And then the second aspect was that as soon as I saw the rift go down and Graves coming, I cleared the wave as fast as possible, and that made him tank quicker. And that ended up being a huge play in this game, and enables me to snowball, as you'll see, snowball quite far ahead. Now my second TP is up, so I'm just going to be looking, as soon as it's up, I'm going to be looking to make a play bot. The value of that TP is going to be a lot greater than the CS I picked top. So as soon as it's up on cooldown, I'm going to come down and help out my team. And that's great. I'll pick up a couple of assists. Team probably was going to do quite well without me, but still gets participation. Make sure we lock down those 2 kills and we snowball the team ahead. When you're playing just a pure tank like Maokai or Poppy or even Ornn, you're much better off playing a bit more of a team-oriented style and lose some CS if you need to, just a TP. Renekton does get my tower, but I'm just with my current items. I'm fairly confident I can actually beat him in the 1v1. And you can see these grasp procs are just massive in terms of additional damage and healing. Make sure to throw down my saplings as much as possible. It ends up being a fairly close fight, but considering I won by 400 HP, I think it was definitely the right play to take and a safe play to take. Part of that is for me is being a Renekton player. Back in the day, I do know Renekton's damages and sort of item points fairly well. And the same with Maokai. Ended up being not that close a fight, but yeah, good to get another solo kill. So Graves does rotate top. I've got a lot of armor, so I'm just going to try and kite him back, get as many grass procs as I can here, and if I can, I'll hit him towards the sapling. Important thing there is to flash away because I had no CDs, and if I can get on him here, I should be able to kill him. He does path back up to the minion wave. We get the kill. So right there, I just ended up playing around my CDs. I had to flash away because his reload was done, and I was still a few seconds off my twisted advance. So just kite back to the brush in that sort of situation, and you're able to pick up the kill. I'm actually finding that Maokai actually has a lot of skill expression in his kit. With his W untargetable, as well as the displacement on his Q, the way you can angle that, you can actually make quite a few plays that you wouldn't expect from a pure tank, like that 2v1 tower dive, and that particular play against Graves. You can dodge abilities and other stuff, and he's actually really enjoyable to play. For my next item, I'm going to be going Righteous Glory. Normally you'd get your MR item second as Maokai, but considering that the only AP damage is Silas, who's mainly single target with a bit of AoE, and he's very likely to be focusing my Fed Ziggs or Yasuo, I don't think I need that yet. And I can go Righteous Glory for the move speed and initiation, so I think that's more important right now than getting MR. At this point, look at the team. My Ziggs is 6-0. I'm just thinking about my win condition here. The Ziggs is absolutely massive, and it looks to be a good player, or at least playing well. So the majority of the gameplay now, the team fighting now, will be me trying to peel for my Ziggs. Maokai is both a fantastic initiator or diver in terms of ability to lock down a target, but he can also peel extremely well with his W, his Q, and all other abilities. So on a game-by-game basis, it really depends on what's happening. Does the enemy team have a Fed carry you need to lock down? Or does your team, in this case, have the carry that you need to protect? So in terms of that, I think our team fight's looking very, very strong. One of the reasons why, obviously, Maokai is so powerful and has a 52% win rate, I think, is just because his team fight potential is fantastic. And for example here, you can see the enemy team, right? Renekton, Graves, Yuumi, Vayne, and Silas. They've got no tank, no lockdown, no initiation. It's a pretty typical solo queue comp, right? But your odds are just going to be skewed far more in your favor if your team has a dedicated tank or a dedicated initiator. It doesn't have to be you, but if no one else is going to do it, you can really increase your win rate by actually taking on that role. At this point, the way I'm thinking, or the way I'm hoping to play, is just to rotate, take out all the outer turrets one by one. With Ziggs' W having a tower execute, we can safely take that pretty well, and I have great disengage with my ultimate. Renekton's rotating down for the rift, so we can start this team fight, and we get a great three-man R. Ziggs is fairly safe right now, so I can just play in the front line. He's poking from afar. I see an opportunity to get onto Yumi and Vayne. And I get a fairly easy 1v2, as you can see just how tanky I am and how powerful I am at this stage of the game. Vayne hasn't completed her blade or a rage blade. And we should be able to pick up the Silas here. We just need to lock him down. Once Vayne gets her rage blade and her balk, she'll obviously shred me, regardless of what I build. But until that stage, I'm fairly safe to just dive if the opportunity presents itself like there, and pick up both their carries fairly easy. Once she gets those items, I'll just need to play a little bit more cautious and play back and peel 100% of the time. I have TP advantage here, which is really important to remember. With Graves, with Renekton having used his TP, I have TP advantage, so I can actually play top side if I need to, and then TP down and leave him stranded top. So we're at a great spot now. I'm rotating over. I've got my Righteous Glory. I'm going to be building the Thornmail now. The most important component of that is, of course, Bramble Vest. They've got a ton of healing between Renekton with Conqueror, Vayne, but obviously primarily Silas with his W healing. So Bramble Vest is going to be a great item to deal with that. And we really should be going top. There's nothing to take mid lane, but we do end up actually rotating, thankfully. This is the play that's got the least counterplay and the most chance for success. Is just going to be sieging down these towers and getting additional gold. And it also gives us the ability to force a team fight while we're ahead if we want to. Renekton can't stay. I'll dive him if he stays. But we can just pick up the free tower. And then rotate down for what looks like to be a team fight. You can see Righteous Glory being useful here as we kick off a fight. It's a little bit messy, with our team down the bot side, but it ends up working out. Now the problem is I don't have any MR. If I had MR, obviously then I could win this fight, but I don't, so I'm going to kite back to my team who's coming over. And we're just going to lock down Silas, and you can see just the level of CC is way too much. They've got Silas, so I'm going to flash onto the Yumi, make sure we pick up a kill, and we pick up the ace. And with the amount of power pushing we have with Ziggs, it's really easy, and we pick up almost all the outer turrets now. You can see that I'm really trying to push the agenda, I guess, in terms of just taking the siege and pushing towers. Just want to keep the team on track. In terms of my MR item, I've got a couple of options here. You see I was looking towards a Spectre's Cowl item, either Spirit Visage or Adaptive Helm. But considering I'm actually really, really strong, obviously 8, 1, and 8, and very, very tanky, and I don't need like a super, super heavy duty MR item, I'm actually going to go Adaptive Mask. Oh, no, sorry, Abyssal Mask, pardon me, for the mana and the additional magic damage. Obviously, we have a lot of magic damage, AoE magic damage with Ziggs, so that's going to benefit Ziggs, but it's also going to keep my damage relevant at this stage in the game and allow me to solo kill Vayne still, if I have the opportunity, which is really valuable. If I just went Spirit Visage or Adaptive, my damage would drop off more. So it helps the team, and it also helps myself, and I think going Abyssal Mask is way more valuable at this point. So you can see they can't defend, and it's another free turret with Ziggs. And we could even pressure the inhibitor turret now if we want. I'm just going to zone Vayne out with that. If I had the opportunity, I'd go for it, but I'm just going to zone her with my Righteous Glory. We shouldn't fight here. There's no reason to fight. But it looks like we're shaping up for it. We got the free inhibitor. We can just back off now. Now with bot lane inhibitor down, it gives us a lot of pressure onto Baron. But looks like a fight's going to break out. I dove a little bit too far there. That was a mistake by me. I should have kited back and helped my Ziggs play front to back, where we take out obviously the tanky champions first. It's a bit of a misplay there, but it's not the end of the world as we just end up trading a couple of kills for one. They can't Baron, not against Ziggs. So in hindsight, we should have looked to kite back towards our team. Yep, and they're just baiting. It's fairly obvious, but Ziggs does a good job of dodging that Silas out. Again, in the Death Chamber with teleport up. And we're going to instantly teleport back into this fight. And you can see our run down Vayne with the undodgeable point and click W. And she's just dead. She's got no chance. I'm going to go for Yuumi last, you can see, just because she's so slow. But I see with 3 dead, it's not worth chasing the Yuumi. We can get a free inhibitor. Ziggs has the right idea finally, but yeah, there's no point paying. Yuumi's useless, right? She needs a champion to be a champion, so no point chasing her. And Ziggs and I'll just pick up a free inhibitor. It looks like Thresh is being a little bit bloodthirsty in this case, trying to pick up a solo kill, which is not the end of the world because obviously he's keeping an enemy champion occupied. But it's pretty funny to watch as he's just trying to chase down Yuumi. You can see him in the top left hand corner of the map. Still chasing. I'm not actually sure if he gets the solo kill here, and I'm interested to see. And he does not. All that chasing was for naught, as Thresh doesn't pick up Yuumi, but that's okay. So I'm 80 gold off Abyssal Mask, so I'm just going to take Golems to try and pick that up because it is a big power spike for me as well. And we've got time because everyone's farming as well. I'm not going to farm the rest of that camp as time is more important than that. I'm just going to back as soon as I've got the 1900. And I'm going to ping obviously to the team for come to that. I think we don't end up picking Graves right now. We don't actually have to do the Baron. It's just an opportunity to bait and force a fight when we're well ahead, and I can start that fight obviously as a Maokai. But if they don't come and contest and we've got no vision, we could take this. So I'm going to be watching for an opportunity to zone out the jungler if I get one. They're going to try and engage, so I'm just going to counter and root them down. And I do zone Graves and Vayne for a while. But again, I think I did misplay that team fight a little bit. Obviously having a good game, but I probably should have played back with Ziggs as well. But I guess Ziggs was fine anyway, so there's no maybe he would have been fine regardless. And Ziggs is doing a great job of just stopping the back. He can die for this. It's just important that we stop the actual backs. I thought the minions were going to finish the game, but they don't. That's okay. Getting the 2 towers is a fantastic result anyway. I think the play here is just to take Baron and just run it down mid with the team, with the Nib and the super minions. So we'll just look to do that. Once we do that, it should be a fairly easy into the game, and it's the safest play rather than just fighting without Baron. We'll go over and let Elise finish that, and we do end up picking up a couple of kills for free here. But yeah, when you're playing a CC champion like Maokai or any other champion, and the jungler or teams coming to try and steal Baron, if you can, it's always best to try and zone them out over the top of the Baron pit, especially if you're tanky enough to survive like Maokai. I think right now we don't actually need to go for the kills. We can just look to end the game. At this point, we do pick it up. Fairly good example of when to play a tank, to just pick a team comp, as well as how to make a couple of our players and some good plays overall throughout the game. If you guys enjoyed the gameplay and found it useful, and also if you like seeing these different type of champion games where you're not just playing carries, just let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please like or subscribe. We'll be releasing more gameplays of different champions like Maokai, as I mentioned, Malphite, probably Wukong, so let me know if you're excited for that. And as always guys, good luck in solo queue.